It doesn't get more humble than concrete block. It's the stuff of high school gymnasiums, the college dorm room wall. This is not an elevated material, and that was precisely what appealed to Sol about it. Even from the very beginning, he never referred to his three-dimensional work as sculpture, and he referred to them simply as structures, and had more in common with architecture than it did with the traditions of sculpture. Just as an architect has blueprints, Sol LeWitt had his set of instructions. What he saw was this idea that an architect could be endlessly creative and come up with different buildings without actually, shoveling the dirt themselves and building those structures by hand. The artist was really a thinker, and that's really, I think, the kind of artist he saw himself as. What makes Sol's work so radical is not the materials, but the idea behind them, that a concept could generate a work of art. He says that the idea is the machine that makes the work of art, and that execution is a perfunctory affair. When people would ask him about inventing the medium of the wall drawing, his retort was, I think the cavemen came first. The wall drawing in the Gates Computer Science Complex has the presence of that same motif, the cube, that was so important to Sol for his entire career and that he explored in every single medium. Most museums and galleries don't have 6 weeks of installation time for an artist. There's no way you can cover 8,000 lines on every single wall in a couple of days. So Sol quickly realized that as these wall drawings became more in demand, there was no way that he could fly all over the world and do these all himself. A wall drawing exists actually as a sheet of paper, a set of instructions that Sol devised. More often than not, he'd give them to drafters, to friends, to art students, to fellow artists, and they would make the work based on his instructions. And that was really a radical act, that the artist's hand is not always present. This wall drawing has not been realized in more than 25 years since it was first done for the Whitney Museum in 1987. You'll see that one side of the cube, for example, says RRY. That's Sol's way of saying one coat of red, another layer of red, and then the third final coat being yellow. Those slight differences between RRY and RBY give you this sort of endless spectrum of color, endless possibilities. We have to remember that analogy that LeWitt himself often made between the wall drawing being like a musical score, and this idea that he's essentially the composer and he's come up with a piece of music, but it can be played at concert houses around the world on the same night. It's really shifting the notion of a work of art being a singular object, something that you ship to a museum or to a collector in a crate or in a box. It's not about objecthood anymore. It's not about singularity. And in fact, I think he really reveled in the idea that the same work could exist in different places at the same time.